The rainforests of Borneo. If I was to name one sound that defines this place, I would probably say the duet of gibbons. Then I guess you can't forget to mention the incessant noise of cicadas, 'cause they won't let you forget they are around. But right after those in my mind, when I think of Borneo, I think of this call. Long and culminating in a maniacal cackle. This is the call of the helmeted hornbill, which is perhaps the prettiest ugly bird on earth. They have these beautiful long tail feathers, and then, what is wrong with this bird's head? Why does this bird look like this? Like, did Mother Nature just, not finish this bird? And be like, well, if you look at the bird from a distance and not quite in focus, they look pretty great. I am joking, mostly. Anyway, helmeted hornbills have pretty solid skulls, which apparently the males use to ram each other while flying in a maneuver called aerial jousting. Which, wait, I want to see that. Unfortunately, that, and even filming one, proved too great of a challenge. Not only because these birds are great at avoiding being seen, but also the helmeted hornbill is critically endangered, because that solid casque, the thingy on the head, the helmet, whatever you want to call it, makes a good material to carve with. Hornbill ivory. So these birds have been poached to the brink of extinction, and now really only exist in the depths of the forest. But who cares about some bird that looks like some kind of art project that is melting in the tropical sun? That is what this video aims to do. Discuss why birds matter, all in a top 10 style, and in line with my previous video on bird taxonomy, we will explore that in a specific place. In this case, the island of Borneo, the third largest island in the world, and home to a bunch of birds. So I guess since we are already talking about hornbills, starting with reason 1, seed dispersal. When it comes to seed dispersal, hornbills are the jungle's top-notch seed couriers, a very fruitful career choice. Okay. Besides the helmeted hornbill, Borneo is home to 7 other species of hornbills. They are large birds, traveling great distances across the forest. Searching the canopy for fruiting trees, and several hundred species of plants have their fruit eaten and dispersed by hornbill. What makes hornbills excellent partners for plants looking to spread their seeds around is they just want that sweet and juicy flesh around the fruit, leaving the seed intact, but holding those seeds before regurgitating or pooping them out for upwards of an hour. So the hornbill can reach a whole different postal code. Wait, this is the jungle, and trees don't have mailboxes. Taken far away from the parent tree, this gives the seed a better chance of evading seed predators, and for the parent, rooted in one place, their offspring can get far away and help lead to the future spreading of genes, able to breed with other trees, sometimes through reason 2 as why birds matter. Pollination. In the forests of Borneo, Nectariinidae, the sunbirds and spider hunters are the most numerous avian pollinators. Basically, the floral matchmakers of the Bornean rainforest. They fly from flower to flower, spreading pollen, helping plants find their perfect botanical soulmates. In these mixed dipterocarp rainforests, birds like these pollinate roughly 10% of understory plants, which doesn't sound too important, but this doesn't take into account the canopy where these birds spend a considerable time. But also sunbirds seem to play a role in diversity of floral species through specialization, and likely led to the famous plant biodiversity from the Cape of Africa. But that is a totally different part of the globe. We are in Asia, which is where the largest sunbirds, the spider hunters, reside. These birds have longer and more curved bills, which allow them to pollinate long tubular flowers. Now, despite nectar being really important to their diet and most of what they eat, the name spider hunter is not a complete misnomer, as they will also use that long curved beak to grab spiders right out of their webs, so a nice 2-in-1 use. Many birds feed on arthropods, including some that can cause devastation to forest ecosystems and human agriculture. which is our third reason why birds matter: pest control. There are lots of different pest insects, but one of the potentially most devastating are borers, insects that can chew right into a tree and, if left unchecked, can kill mature trees, cutting off the flow of water and nutrients from the roots. But around the world, one group of successful birds has evolved to feed on them: the woodpeckers. And Borneo has some incredible diversity in woodpecker size. This is the Rufous piculette, the smallest woodpecker in the Old World, finding tasty grubs within smaller branches and bamboo. On the other end of the woodpecker size spectrum, these forests are also home to the largest woodpecker in the world, if the imperial and ivory-billed woodpecker are actually extinct, the great slaty woodpecker. Often in highly vocal groups, these giants with those powerful bills can eat a variety of insects in large branches and tree trunks. Despite the potential of birds for pest control, they are often not considered. I mean, looking if any literature existed specifically on woodpeckers and pest control, I only found papers on how to keep woodpeckers off your house. The secret is apparently painting your house in a natural color. You would think woodpeckers would be able to drum up some interest and business for their pest control services. I guess there is a history of economic ornithology, calculating what bird ecosystem services contribute to our human economy, and some scientists have estimated birds eat something like 500 million tons of insects every year. Around the world, experimentally excluding birds from crops has been shown that without them, insects do more damage to the plants. Though this can be a challenge as some birds also eat crops. And so the balance of positive and negatives for farmers can be tricky, as well as fear about the not well-supported claim birds are responsible for salmonella outbreaks on vegetables. Beyond the above three ecosystem services, birds fill many other ecological niches, which will be our fourth reason why birds matter: biodiversity. Birds are a very diverse group of vertebrates with over 10,000 living species, twice that of mammals. And so many different birds are doing a bunch of different things, which helps stabilize the ecosystem. And when birds do similar things to other birds, it also creates important ecological redundancy. Right, other birds besides hornbills, like pigeons, disperse seeds. Tiny hanging parrots pollinate flowers. And there are endless forms of insectivorous birds, all taking advantage of a weakness each different strategy insects use to avoid predation. Lots of insects are small, fast flyers, which are hunted by small, fast-flying birds, like swallows, swiftlets, tree swifts, and bee-eaters. Another group of insectivorous birds are the broadbills, which are kind of derpy-looking. Like, yes, beautiful colors, but those beaks are just too wide. Anyway, they use those beaks to grab insects right off the vegetation. This is a green broadbill, which is only sort of a related bird, which eats figs and spreads seeds. We really couldn't come up with a different name? Not like greenbirds? No? Then you have some of my faves, the pittas, which are a group of colorful, mostly ground-dwelling birds. I mean, look at the colors going on with this black-crowned pitta, a species endemic to Borneo. Like, as someone who likes to wear garish colors, I'm a bit jealous. The broadbills and pittas, though, lack true vocal talent. They're subocines. But of course, Borneo is also home to many songbirds. Magpie robins, because white explorers thought they were magpie-like robins, and not their own thing. Again, naming seems to have been done as lazily as possible, though not quite as bad as the drab water tyrant from the Amazon birding video. Anyway, these magpie robins are quite common, and include the oriental magpie robin and the white-crowned shama. Unfortunately, their beautiful songs have attracted the attention of humans, and both species are captured for cage bird trade that threatens many songbirds throughout Southeast Asia. Other species that are traded include the beautiful green leaf birds and the many species of boobles, which are important dispersers of small seeds. Another group of fruit-dispersing birds in the Bornean rainforest are the flower peckers. These colorful little birds, while yes, do drink nectar when they peck flowers, also love to feed on little berries, especially mistletoe. Did that sentence sound weird to anyone else? Other birds are seed predators like dusky munia, or some of the many incredible Bornean pheasants, such as the crested fireback or the great Argus, which is probably my favorite pheasant. So much I named a fake YouTube channel after them. Well, the mythology that inspired the pheasant's name. Where was I? One important thing some birds do that I wanted to mention for reason 5 is birds as scavengers. Well, in consulting my guide, there is a vulture in it, but that was only a vagrant, so not actually important. Only twitchers care about this sort of stuff. While there are crows in the Bornean rainforest which would likely scavenge anything dead out here they could find, they are opportunistic, just as likely to eat insects or fruit. What makes vultures unique is they are the only obligate vertebrate scavengers on the planet, and they take that role really seriously, meaning they have an incredibly important role in the ecosystem. So, am I using some random vagrant from decades ago to justify talking about birds that are not actually found on the island of Borneo, and instead mainland Southern Asia? Absolutely, but I have wanted to talk about why vultures are amazing for many years now, so I am taking my opportunity, no matter how tenuous the rationale is for that discussion happening right now. See vultures as large, quick-moving, and numerous scavengers means carcass decomposition is shortened. In some places, a carcass can be reduced to a bloody smear in a few hours as the different vultures eat different parts of the animal. This means pathogenic bacteria have no time to form, so less disease on the landscape. Vultures also clean up the carcass faster than large groups of mammalian opportunists can show up, keeping their numbers and densities lower. This is important, as these mammals, especially feral dogs, are important vectors of diseases such as rabies and bovine tuberculosis. Despite this critical role and there being plenty of food for them, vultures are not doing so well, especially the Asian species, which since the 1990s have declined by 95% across their range. This was due to the administration of the anti-inflammatory drug Diclofenac to sick and dying cattle, as cows are sacred to the Hindu population of South Asia. When some of these cows died, the vultures ate them. When the drug entered the vulture's kidneys, it caused kidney failure and visceral gout, poisoning the vultures. Because the birds travel such great distances, it also means that not a lot of carcasses were needed to cause the population collapse. The models say just 1 to 2% of carcasses being tainted by the drug would have wiped them out. As the tragedy of the Asian vultures show, birds can be particularly sensitive to changes in the environment, and so they can basically be canaries in a coal mine, except not every bird is a canary, and it's the whole planet, not just some coal mine. These indicator species can be really useful in determining how we are messing up an ecosystem, so we can have some idea on how to not do that, if we care enough to do so. To look at some good Bornean indicator species, I want to leave the lowlands and head higher, to the forests of the highest mountain on Borneo, Mount KINABALU. Borneo's highlands are home to many endemic species of plants and animals, from the enigmatic pitcher plants to some beautiful birds, such as the spectacular white-headed trogon. Tropical montane species like these are the most threatened group by climate change, as they have evolved to inhabit a habitat that has very stable temperatures, as the tropics tend not to have the noticeable seasonality of the temperate and polar regions. Research on the birds of Mount KINABALU indicate many species have shifted upslope by at least 100 meters since the 1990s. These birds seem to have moved with their optimal temperature range as the planet heats up. Of course, it cannot be that simple, as some birds likely moved up following human road construction, or some even moved downslope, which could easily be due to problems with sampling in the past, or any number of factors that we really should figure out. Because this could be the effect of human disturbance or some other thing we probably should be aware of to make more ecologically sound policy decisions, I guess, if anyone gives enough of a to try and change policy. This is why it is important everyone has the opportunity to have fun and positive interactions with nature, and looking at birds is a great way to introduce people to the natural world, which is our next reason. What is it, 7? I think I'm going to just drop the top 10 list thing and just go about my business through the rest of the video. Anyway, birds are large, mostly easy to tell apart, and quite diverse, even in the middle of a city, like say around Kota Kinabalu, the capital of the Malaysian state of Sabah, and right on the coast. Along the harbor, many birds are about: crows, sparrows, herons, swifts, and of course the ubiquitous feral pigeons. With some work, one can get birds like sunbirds. It was seeing birds in my home city that really got me to explore the natural world when I was a kid. KINABALU, though, has easy access to wilder locations, such as wetlands filled with herons, white-bellied sea eagles, and while not birds, even a family of otters as the call of evening prayers rings out across the city. Interesting to see species like the great egret I am familiar with all the way over in North America in such a distant place. Off the coast from the city are a series of small islands, where one can escape city life and find more jungle-loving birds, and even some giant lizards. One of the more unusual birds here are the Philippine megapodes, birds that create big ol' mounds like reptiles instead of incubating the eggs themselves. I guess because they just don't have time to raise a family. The chicks, though, are fine being left to fend for themselves and can even fly right after hatching. Seeing interesting birds or filling up a life list is often an element of birding, which can take the simple noticing birds around the city and get people deeper into the natural world. While birding can be contained to a single area or region, there are those who travel the world and chase down exciting and exotic birds like the Bornean bristlehead, endemic to low-elevation dipterocarp forest, and might actually be the prettiest ugly bird. The head is so bright, but the bird looks like they're balding. Anyway, many birders will spend a lot of money to get a glimpse of this half-plucked crow, along with many other species. In 1996, in the US, birders spent a total of $23 billion going after birds, and significant amounts of money are spent around the world to see birds. This makes birding an important aspect to ecotourism, which I made a whole video on, so not going to say much else. Is it commodifying nature for profits? Yes, but like the bird is more valuable alive than dead, and thus cutting down the rainforest is not economically advisable, which is something until we can decide what to do about rampant capitalism. Birds, though, can have much more significance to people than just some animal to take a look at, or make a buck off people wanting to take a look, and have much deeper cultural meanings. Among Borneo's many native tribes, some birds, especially the birds of prey, are important omens, illuminating the mysteries of life. Whether the rice harvest is going to be good, if an ill person is to get better, reversing bad luck, and in the more distant past, decisions about warfare. In some tribes, the process involves prayers and only counts sightings of the bird during the prayer in the omen determination. The bird's behavior would then have to be interpreted for meaning, which, depending on the tribe, the specific calls and flight patterns can have very specific and agreed-upon meanings, or some tribes the meanings can be more open to interpretation. Generally, though, if a soaring raptor flies to the left, that is a good sign. If the bird flies to the right or away, neither a good or bad sign can be determined. Or if the bird flies directly overhead, that is a bad omen. If the person got a good or mixed omen, the second part of the ceremony will begin, in which ideally a different bird will come around, but this time if the bird flies to the right, that is a good sign. This allows for a wide range of outcomes, from double good omens, which is what you want, to more mixed omens, though a bad omen is final and ends the ceremony. The significance of these birds to the tribes of Borneo is just one example of the cultural importance birds hold to people around the world. Most of the reasons I went over today about why birds matter were anthropocentric. You know, why birds matter to us. Which makes me want to ask one final question for my last reason why birds matter. Reason 10, I guess. Why do humans matter? Humans might be clever, but birds make neat nests, like giant mounds. Okay, that isn't that impressive. But weaver birds, those birds make really impressive structures. And like a lot of birds sing nice. Like all we do is use up resources and do clever things, never considering other species. Okay, that's not entirely true, and from the perspective of birds, maybe we can be useful to them. Like putting out feeders and nest boxes, rehabilitating injured birds, or even planting plants that offer food and cover. I think, though, we need to work out of the simple anthropocentric worldview that nature must be useful to us, that we need a reason to protect the world around us. We must really move beyond that and conserve nature that serves no direct benefit to us. Though I'm sure to some of you that will sound very foreign, and likely nothing I could say would alter that mentality. That, though, is the thing I like about philosophical questions. As long as I get you to engage with the question, it has the potential to let you see the world under a new lens, and I win the argument. Just kidding! Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed meeting some of the birds that call the island of Borneo home. If you want to see more amazing birds from around the world, check out my bird video playlist, or perhaps check out this video on bird taxonomy in the Amazon rainforest.